you're running with desires, passion. We want big desire. We want big passion. We're not trying to squash down the emotion, right? But we got to learn how to ride that emotion, how we can work with the emotion when we're feeling it so that it doesn't tangle us up and eat us up, right? We don't want that to end up happening.
Book that my daughter gave me, and this is another thing I'm grateful for. This is Daily Dose of Kindness, 365 days. It is a word of kindness every single day. So my daughter bought me this. So since today is day 5, I want to share what so yesterday's word was write a letter. So write a letter to yourself, tell yourself how much you love yourself. And then today's word of the day is pay someone a compliment. And with that being said, let's get the show going. Queen, how's your day going? Because my day started with some very, very, very intense yoga. Very intense. And I love it. I love it. So, Queen, how's your day going? Before we go to Christine.
Ouch. As I said, ouch, because I'm trying to act like my toe is not purple, you know. It's still purple. It's beautiful though. It's beautiful though. I am doing amazing. I am really loving just, I guess, the evolution and getting to a point in my life to where I don't view things as negative or positive. I view it all as an awesome, amazing way to learn something about myself, other people, the world, you know. So it's just really just, and I woke up just totally on fire with Tony Robbins and so grateful. I mean, when he was doing the fire breath, and then you got to think about the things that you're manifesting. And I will drop the video in the chat. I know you're like, hello, don't be talking about it and not sharing it. Hello. So I will drop it in the chat. My bad. So I was just so amazed this morning. So first, thankful and grateful for, and I didn't say my things. Thankful and grateful for, I did say it already, for just my evolution. And changing my mindset, you know, and grateful for the different catalysts that at one point I thought they were bad and the worst thing, you know, of my life. And now I'm like, boo, I've learned so much from that, you know. And then most importantly, I will say, is grateful for a tribe. So grateful for all of you. You know, your essence, your smiles, even when you guys cry, and even when you're angry, I'm so thankful for you because you show me the beautiful expressions of Source through you, you know, as you're working through your stuff, and when you're happy, and when you don't even realize you're channeling Source. It's just so amazing to see everybody. So those are the things that I'm grateful for today, and that's how your girl, the sun goddess, is doing.
And if you hear live, hi, how are you? And if you hear later on, don't forget to do #replay. So hey, Christine, what are you thankful for, and how's your morning doing? And then take over.
Good morning. Oh, good afternoon. My day so far. Okay, well, first I will say I am thankful and grateful for my days so far. And so today is actually one of my busiest days. I got to rework my calendar, and today I got up and I did 6 a.m. Bikram. I taught a class, I taught another class. I'm here with you, and then I have another call after that. And I was like thinking about it, and this is like what I am grateful for, because this is what I wanted. I wanted these calls. I wanted to be online. I wanted to be teaching on Zoom. I wanted to be here interacting, and I wanted to have my private calls and whatever. And I wanted it set up in that way. And so every time I do look at my calendar and I'm like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh, yay, 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 yay. This is like who I get to be with, who I get to be with. And like that, I even got my own practice in, was fantastic. And so I started with I did masters yesterday, and I really can't wait to get to dive deeper with y'all with it, because I love yoga so much. And I was actually sharing what I learned yesterday with my students, and we had like this discussion on, they always tell me, they're like, you always have something different. And I always tell them it's from being a forever student, right? If we can be that forever student, like Dee said, I love what you just said about like that catalyst. And I was like, yeah, if we could all turn around and look at no more skeletons, they're those catalysts, right? Like we changed those words around and looked at all of that, and we're like, wow, I really did grow so much from that. And so that's so beautiful, that you said that. And it's like, I'm sharing that with my students, and when I'm like, oh, I would have never, and by the end of, so we sat down, and like we did the beginning vinyasa today, and I'm like, we did some standing poses, our warriors and everything, and then we did a little balance, and I always bring everybody down, and I brought everybody down, and we ended in Sukhasana, or not Sukhasana, but in butterfly pose. And I was like, all right, and now get into your squat, just like how Master did yesterday, when he was just like, and come in, and they all looked at, and granted, these are all my students who are like 65 plus, who could not even get down in the first place, right? And I had us going all the way down, trying to keep our knees together, but then I let them open it if that helped, lower down. And they're like, what? And I was like, I'm like, I took this class yesterday, and I'm like, this was like the second thing we did. I'm like, it was crazy. And I couldn't even do it after we did all of that class. Like, and then I sat down, I only did it one time with him yesterday. And I feel like I'm pretty strong. And I feel like I can get up from squat pose, but I have to have my feet wide. Like I can't have my feet together like that. And I have to stand right up. I don't need a momentum, but I need to keep continuing forward. So in order to just kind of come only up, like that's so much control. It's amazing. Like that is like, I can get that. That's like my press handstand, so those are those good, great, amazing levels to see. But that forever student. And I think that I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that my life has turned into that. UA has given me the opportunity to literally be a forever student, to set up my day with these calls. And so many more people are adding things onto the calendar. Like I can't wait to add those in and be like, no, this is my call. This is what I'm doing today. I am learning something new so that I can come here and share with y'all, something new, what I just learned. And so that's what I'm really am grateful for. And I come back and I really think about, like, I did create this. Like, this is something that I manifested. And sometimes I actually just opened my phone today, and this girl had posted this picture of this plane ticket that she's been wanting to manifest. And she did it. She's like, look I got it. And I'm like, damn. And she was talking about this like 2 weeks ago. Like this was quick. Like this was, and I said, I'm like, fire. Like, I mean, so freaking fast. And sometimes though, we have to, and this is like the air card from today, we have to remember, like, it's all in different perspectives. It's all in how we don't know what she was doing, how many yoga practices she did before her third eye ignited, before she got that ticket, like we don't know the challenges that she had before then. And I'm seeing it as this concrete thing, whereas this might not be a concrete thing to her, because her big picture could be wherever that plane ticket is taking her, right? And it's the same thing as me, like not seeing that I manifested this so quickly, because I'm so focusing on that big picture of having like all of this abundance, right? But other people might be like, well, just last year, you didn't have all this time freedom. Just like that is quick to, to change and to do that. And so it really is about our perspective, and to kind of just have that awareness, and that comes from that evolution. Like you said, Dee, like growing from that and realizing that we have gotten stronger. Yeah.
Okay, all I gotta say is what? First of all, you said that I woke up with this, I did this, I did this. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh, so this is definitely your busiest day. like you said. Oh my gosh, that was amazing. And okay, as far as doing yoga with master, okay, yes. Okay, fire. And yeah, but you know what? When I go down, when I go down, first of all, I can't have my hands up like, no, I can't. I would be in your class and be like, no, my hands cannot be like that. I'd go down and I can't put my feet flat. So I'm, on my tippy toes. However, when I first did it, the first time, I could barely do that because I've had knee injuries and my hamstrings and quads are so tight. Woo! So I would like go down and then immediately like sit down in Indian style. I'd be like, I would watch everyone else, but I did what I could. That was the thing. I didn't give up. So just the progression since last year. And when I mean last year, I don't mean like December. Well, I mean like 2020, at the beginning of 2020, or like Aprilish, something like that, 2020. It's taken that long with me not giving up to where I can go down now and still my feet are not flat, they're still up, but I can have my arms out like on my knees resting and it does not hurt as much as it used to. So I'm excited for that's a win for me, because girl, having them knee injuries, whoo. I mean, I've had some bad knee injuries to where first it hurt so bad even going down. I'm like, why? But and also a win for me too is that when I'm doing yoga, I don't accept the pain. I'm okay with the pressure, but I don't accept the pain. And I say that because I would still be in pain and do it and then feel bad because I cannot mirror exactly what Master was doing or whoever was teaching us. But now I'm perfecting listening to my body and being okay with what my body tells me. And then I follow through. So if I'm in pain, like my toe, was like, you can't do yoga. I mean, you can't do yoga when, you feel like your toe's broken. Hello, because everything involves your feet. You're going to be on your feet some way. So I'm watching them right now. But
Okay. My class on Sunday, I'll do a class for you up the wall. We won't do anything on our feet. I'll give you a special yin wall. We can do no feet.
That's awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm feeling all special now.
I'm excited for that class. I usually go to Christine Sunday's class. The 6 o'clock one is pretty good. It's usually a challenge for me to do the morning one because I have like the kids that I have to get them everywhere, and it's like, ugh. But the afternoon one, I'm like, I'm there, boo. First,
Jesse, you're in.
that you were able to try. So you got experience. I went into the portal.
Yes, we're trying to pull you back. You're fine now, though. Kinda. Okay, not.
I'm excited that you got to experience some of Master's yoga. So yeah, and take over.
Well, I wasn't really sure what we were going to talk about today, and like really where it wanted to go, but I wanted to kind of just start with our new gate energy. I kind of really just wanted to start there because today is the first day of it. We are now in divine inspiration. And I think this is kind of important to, like, it kind of plays off of what I said about being grateful and like the different steps and the different layers of where we're at, right? The different parts of our journey. And this is really where it's important for us to be grateful at the part that we're at. And especially how Dee said that about yoga, like that is such an important piece. Like that is like what differentiates yoga from like working out where you're going to push through the pain and you're going to like fight through and you're just like, no, it's like, it is connecting with your mind and your body. And you're like, we're not trying to do any of this like massive push through. And so that whole idea of like learning to listen and to kind of trust all of that and to try to appreciate where we are, because we're in the gate of divine inspiration. So gate 54. And so this is to learn to be a conduit for divine inspiration. We are all channels. We listen to Feminine Flame, and we listen to these ladies talk about how they talk to their guides all the time. And no matter where you are on your journey, you have the capability to do that too, right? To learn how to tune in. We are all channels. I sit and pull cards, and the messages I get, and that is channeled information. Me talking to you even about human design, I'm actually combining those together, and I'm really calling it cards and charts now, and I'm going to be really excited. I'm going to be doing that on Fridays, where I am just going to let the cards call me onto your chart, and we're going to let it flow from there and really be completely divinely guided, right? And so this channel is trusting. This is coming from our root, and so this is also helping us ground down into Mama Gaia, right? And it's to learn to be the conduit for divine inspiration, to learn to be patient and to wait for the alignment and the right action, to take the right timing before taking action, to be at peace with stewardship for ideas. And so in order to be that steward, though, we have to be okay to like weather all kinds of, like to sail all kinds of weather, right? No matter what kind of thing comes up, if it starts to get rough and rocky in the oceans, like you have to be ready to keep on going. You have to be ready to redirect, right? We have to be fluid and flexible to be able to kind of shift and alter if we need to. And so we have to learn to trust the divine trajectory of the inspiration. And the more I at least really dive in with Karen and the quantum, and this is a different level as where we could go with Ron, we can go with the foundational human design, which is, I feel like, a lot more kind of scientific, right? And you can break down and you can get down to the science about your dreams. You can get down to about all of that in your chart. And there's a lot that I really love about Karen with the openness of the free will and the openness of, although we all have the same gates and all have the same channels. And this reminded me a lot with twins. I saw two twins charts and they're the same thing. They're, you know, you have to think about that. You're born at the same time. If you're just a couple minutes apart, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference in your chart. But these two are completely different, obviously, human beings. It's the way that their energies absorb that energy, right? The transition, it's the way that their filter kind of runs through, the way that they view it, the way that they harness it and do it. And so I love the fact that we have to learn how to, yes, manifest in this way of knowing the idea of where we want to go, but also kind of letting go and releasing some of that control and not getting so caught up in that end result. So many places on where we manifest, like you have to know that end result. And I get that. But at the same time, we have to allow for the universe to blow our mind, right? We have to allow for those new opportunities to come in. And we have to realize that we are all here guided and working all together. And there's like, you never knew who's going to come on your path. Like, Jesse, I know you had your own podcast going, and then you met these two flame, you know, that was guided to you, and you let yourself evolve. You let yourself take this idea and you collaborated and you let it grow and you let it expand, right? And if you were just like, no, I'm going to have my own, I'm going to be by my, this is me, I'm going to be by my own, right? If you had that specific vision, you would have never even listened to Dee if she was like, hey, you want to do something? Like, you would have never even been open. Your heart would have been so closed because you were closed-minded in it, right? And so this gate is kind of asking us to be the muse, right? How do I interface with my creative muse? What inspires me? The muse is playful, right? It lets it explore. It lets you try new things. It lets you experience different things and see which ones you really are for your passion. And so that's the energy we're in for the next couple of days. And so you can kind of, our affirmation is we're a divine conduit for inspiration. Through me, new ideas about creating sustainability and peace on the planet are born. I tend my inspirations, I give them love and energy, and I prepare the way for their manifestations into the world. And so it's our energy through our guides, through our spirits, they know what's coming. And so be mindful, I guess I should say, when we do these manifestations, right? Like, be mindful, keep checking in, keep allowing yourself some realignment if things don't feel right, or if you feel like you are pushing too hard. And sometimes that's how I've been feeling with some of the yoga with Master. Like, I can't completely rearrange, and it just hasn't worked. And I know that when the time is right, it's going to work out. When I can jump on, I can. And but old me would have really tried to like stress out about it. And I feel like that energy, like, yes, there are certain things that are meant to, that doesn't mean that I'm never going to do yoga with him, or I'm never going to do one of his courses. But when I was like kind of excited to hear, kind of got bumped to February, I'm like, oh, maybe I have some time to look into my, you know, that's extra time. And so, but allowing that availability, right, to happen. I'm going to check this comment for a second.
Do you, while I say something? Yes. Oh, man, I love that you said that, because the guides wanted me to thank you earlier, and it just slipped my mind, and they just, as you said, flexibility, they were like, they wanted me to thank you for being flexible to the time and to the energies that are happening right now, and that where we shifting and growing and being flexible to everything that we're doing. And you're being part of, you know, the family and the tribe. You were able to do that for your schedule as well. So I wanted to tell you that. Before you continue, because I was like, okay, all right. And we're gonna go to the charts.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to the charts. Yes. So we're going to go to the charts. We're gonna go into the comments. You know how we do in here.
Yes, there's someone watching us new today, Tanya. Hey, Tanya. I think this is the first time that she's caught Feminine Flame Live, and she was asking some questions. I'm like, put your chart. And she's like, okay, I don't. And I'm like, what's your profile? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, so I asked her to share her her chart, and I'm gonna share my screen. So the amazing Christine can talk about Tanya's chart.
All right, well, I am going to pull, so this isn't going to be my new way that I'm going to do this, but this is exciting too. Okay, so I am going to give you a little bit of rundown with some of the stuff on the side. And so when you first get your chart, the very first thing that we really want to pay attention to is about our strategy and our authority. And so for you, you are an alchemist, you're a generator, which means that your authority, your strategy is to respond. And so you want to kind of wait for opportunities to present themselves to you, people to ask you questions, people to invite you to places, to respond really to anything. You can respond to your children, your pets, your phone ringing, a text message. You choose what you're going to do, right? But rather waiting to respond to something as opposed to initiate. And so that's going to be your strategy to kind of start playing around with as you into the external world. And now your authority is your solar plexus. And so your authority is your emotions. And so you work on an emotional wave. And so you have a set set range of emotions, I guess I should say. And when you start to learn your pattern, and we can look up your pattern, which is going to be 41 to 30. We can look that up. When you start to learn your pattern on how things work through, your best way to make decisions is really filtering through how you're going to feel doing it. And so if you are making a big like whether you want to move, and so it's really important for you to take some time. You don't want to make any big decisions immediately. Your solar plexus is one that takes time. You at least need to wait overnight. And so you want to kind of filter through the questions through all of your phases of your emotions. And so if you're moving and you are trying to pick which places to be, making sure, okay, if I move to this location, I'm going to feel safe when I'm here. When I'm feeling this way, am I going to like it? When I'm feeling this way, am I going to like it? Right? So giving giving yourself the whole emotional range for any kind of life decision is really how our solar plexus works. And that's going to be for everybody. And so learning for you is going to be really be about patience, which can be very hard for a generator because you have a lot of energy. You create energy. We are like a generator, right? Creates energy. And an alchemist, though, we transmute energy. So we also have that capability to take energy and to turn it into something else. That's why we're called the alchemists in Karen's world. And so making sure that you have something that you like to do for yourself so that you can burn some energy sometimes if you're feeling impatient, right? Yoga is fantastic. All of us here are generators, manifesting generators. We all do yoga because it's a great way to physically burn off our energy, but also tap in and connect in and to have a meditation. And so that we're also kind of getting two pieces with one thing, right? But going out for walks, another great thing, being outside in nature, whatever physical activity, especially if you can find a grounding one, is amazing for you so that you can help build that level of patience. And so I'm kind of going to pull a card too for you just to see really where else I can look at your chart, and we'll kind of look at that 41 to 30, which is going to be your emotional wave. So let's see what we get for you, Tanya. Maybe where we need a little bit of alignment, a little bit of focus to bring you to your highest alignment.
Christine, she said, "Oh, no wonder I seem I seem no misaligned, if I can read today, because I tend to do everything by logic and mind, and a bit disconnected from emotional lead."
And so interesting, because talking about sometimes when we tend to do the opposite, like, so you're saying you go very logical and you're squashing down the emotions. And so that could have been from like a hidden trauma or something that you kind of followed the emotions or whatever. And you kind of learn to switch, because it's interesting because you have an open head center, which means that your head is going to be susceptible to conditioning. And so the reason why you felt this disconnect is because your logical answers are actually somebody else's logical answers in the collective consciousness, right? Or whoever's really around you, you are mirroring their thoughts, their things. And so if you hold on to those, and if you kind of take those, and then you're wondering why you're not really feeling a connection, and that's kind of why. And so the head center is going to be one of your best teachers, really, because for you and your chart, it's completely open. And so this is really where you get to explore. And so explore with some of those logical, quote unquote, logical thoughts that you're having, or decisions that you've made, and kind of let those logical thoughts run through your emotional beings. And it's funny because now the card I pulled for you was the Joy of Mastery, and it's coming from the root center. But if you're feeling this kind of disconnect, learning how to kind of come back into something that brings joy, right? We have to come back, and that's going to come from our emotional side too. That's going to come from our heart, come from not anything in our mind, which is really going to bring us joy. So the Joy of Mastery, gate 58. So that says to follow the drive to create the fulfillment of your potential, to learn to craft a talent and make it into a masterful through joyful learning. And so learning how to, say you want to go out and even like yoga, like if you wanted to go out and do yoga, and learning how to be playful. If you've never done it before, how can you come at it with this playful heart? And actually, I say this to students all the time when I'm subbing a class, especially, and I'm walking into a brand new place, and I'm like, listen, you don't know me, you don't, like, let's come into this room as an open, playful heart of just learning one another, right? How can we just want to explore and discover, as opposed to this frustration if we were right or wrong, or trying to be perfect. And so to master this is to harness the joy of mastery so that you can refine your practice until you reach your full potential. And then you learn to live in that flow of joy. And so quickly, let's just look at your emotional line, your wave, just so you can help process through some of the emotions that you're experiencing. And or so you also know, okay, this is the cycle that I'm going to work through, so we can kind of predict it. And then you can kind of help speed up your decision making process. And I know this is like a lot of
Yes.
some of it's not. And so always message me if you need to.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to let you know what she's responding to what you're saying. I just wanted
Okay.
to, she said that she found my past life, I was most successful led by logic and mind. In this life, I'm supposed to lead by heart. She also said that she doesn't understand that letting logic run through emotion. So will you explain a little bit more on that?
Yeah. So like really trying to, if you're trying to break out of that, this is, I guess, kind of like your transition. If you've been running so logical and you need to kind of shift it in, it's like, okay, if your mind is telling you to do this, how can you filter through choosing if you should do it or not, right? Because if your decision making is your emotions, your decision making is going to be through your solar plexus. It's going to be about how you feel. And so, if you're logical, if society out there is saying you should do this, stick with your 9 to 5, and you're like, oh, this really doesn't feel good. This is what happened to me. Like, it just didn't feel good. Like going back to teaching, like I felt it into my body. It didn't process right. I am not an emotional being. I feel it through my gut, and that's where I was feeling it. And so I had to really learn my authority and what my body is trying to tell me logically. Oh, you just graduated college, you only taught for 1 year, this is what you should do. Well, I'm sorry, the logic is not filtering through my body in the outside logic. Who says that's logic? I guess that's what those outside, that's who says it's logical. That's not logical for me. That was not making me happy. That was not making my body happy. I was physically getting like nauseous and upset stomach. And so some of those things where you're feeling this disconnect, check in with why you made that decision. If you made that decision through your logical mind and it was your mind saying, yes, you need to do that, well, what is your heart telling you? Can you run that through your heart and kind of, okay, how can you maybe support that logical mind and maybe do it a little safer? Or do you have to rip the Band-Aid off and jump right off the ledge, And then that's where we can kind of look at some of the other pieces into our chart and be like, oh, no, I could rip that Band-Aid off. I know I have this strength here. I know that I have this power here. I just have to listen to it. I just have to connect and I have to listen to it. Maybe I got to meditate a couple more times, but I'm just going to connect and listen. And so for you, your wave is the collective, it's an abstract wave. It's called the wave of desire. And so it operates through desire and feeling, and it moves in peaks and valleys. Based on expectation, this wave crashes when the desire or expectation is not met. The trick to this wave, and so to how you harness your authority and help any of my solar plexus people, you're trying to harness your emotions just so you can have an understanding of them, right? Because this is when we can understand them. We don't want to control it. I don't like the word control, because we're not trying to control them, but we're learning how to ride them, right? If you want to surf, you got to learn how to ride the wave. You're not fighting the wave. You want big waves to come. Same thing. You're running with desires, passion. We want big desire. We want big passion. We're not trying to squash down the emotion, right? But we got to learn how to ride that emotion, how we can work with the emotion when we're feeling it so that it doesn't tangle us up and eat us up, right? We don't want that to end up happening. And so we have to learn to transcend it. You have to enter into something for just an experience and not holding on to such that outcome. So what I was really saying about, even with that manifestation, if we have this, I'm going to get this job, and I've done this with other companies. Like I've been like, nope, I signed up with this company. I'm with HempWorks, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be on top stage and it just didn't, it didn't work. But I had to stay open, and I did stay open. And then I found something, and I was transcendent, and I grew. And so, but I go into things now with, who am I going to meet? What is this person going to teach me? Not like, where is this company? No, I'm like, oh my God, I met Feminine Flame. I met people in the dream world. I met all of these people through this company, and I'm hoping for it to grow and go all over. Absolutely. But right now, all I'm worried about is, what is somebody else going to teach me next? What is that next person going to show me on the calendar on Saturday that I don't even know who this person is? I'm excited, like, am I going to learn from that? And so that's how you ride this wave. We got to let go of our expectations, which is so hard to do. And so if you can learn to be like, I'm going into this for fun, or my gut says this is going to be awesome. Like, okay. And if it sucks, it sucks. And we release it. And you're like, well, I just won't do that again. I know that I don't like that. I know that does not give me that adrenaline rush. Like, I don't know why anybody would jump out of a plane. Whatever, I could take a nap. Who cares? And that's just it. And so learning, though, not to squash those emotions down, because those emotions are going to be what guides you. That fear, that anger, that is telling you something. Don't squish it down, but don't let it encompass you where you're not listening to the lesson, or you're not asking, what are you trying to show me? Right? That's what ends up happening. We get so caught up in the depression or the sadness or the change that is this abrupt change, this catalyst, like Dee said. We get so caught up in it sometimes, and we let it take us and then we don't want to ask the question. We can't ask the question because we're whirling in it. And so how can we do that?
Wow.
Wow, hold on, Queen, before you go. Go.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, Tanya says, and nothing feels good when I'm told what to become my whole life. Yes. Mastery is my spiritual gifts. If I can read today, okay, let me ring the bell again or something.
All right, hold on. Let me reset it, and then you can go back to reading. You know what it is? It's the excitement of the tribe coming together to Feminine Flame. That is what it is. I read it.
Because I love Tanya, and I'm so excited that she's here. So, and it's like, you have your two friends, and Tanya, come meet my friend Christine, and I want y'all to be BFF. So that's what's going on in my body right now. Okay, so let me just say that. Okay, so so Tanya says, yes, nothing feels good when I'm told what to become my whole life. Mastery in my spiritual gifts is also a big theme that keeps coming to me, but not sure where to go with it, because I'm so used to being told that I feel I don't know where to put my focus. So many opportunities come. Most don't feel I'm sure what I feel. Not sure if it is fear or if I don't like it or it's something I pursue. And then she said it all resonates.
So that about like that, especially in the spiritual, so you do have the open head, but you do have a defined third eye and your intuition. And so right now, you have an open heart and you have an open spleen. So the heart is like feeling like you have to prove. And so sometimes that might be where you're like, you were told what to do. And the reason you listen so much is because you had that vulnerability there, that you felt like you had to listen in order to prove your value. Right. And so you're like, oh, I'm going to be a good listener. If I'm a good listener, if I do what they say, they're going to love me even more. Right. And so that's kind of one of those traumas that we tend to pick up if we have that open heart, because we're like, oh, all I have to, it's going to be easy. They'll love everybody. And it's kind of a little bit of our people pleasing comes from that open heart right there. Right. We're trying to be like, oh, I can just do this and they'll be my friend and they'll like me. And we tend to come back through that. And so, and in our spleen is fear too. And so if you have an open spleen, you're picking up other people's fears. But if you're talking about exploring through your spirituality, and you know that there's a gift there that you do have, and how do we present it? And I think and this is a great conversation, because I think so many of us are here, right? We're like on 4D, we're titter tattling like into 5D, and we're like, okay, how can we bring this into our real reality, and how can we like create something from it, and how can we be of service, and still unfortunately create money from it, because that's how we have to live in this world, right? And so although we don't want to ask for that, because it is a gift, and where I struggle so much right now. And so, but there's a gift, and so many of us know we all have gifts, and I'm just harnessing, and I'm like saying, I'm like, no, these cards, and this is my gift. And I've looked at so many people, and I'm like, what's the difference between me and them? And it's like, they just said it, and they're confident in it, and they know it, and I know it. And so, right, it's that level of that next lovability, that next level that we don't have to prove, we just have to know, right? We don't have to prove, we just have to know. And I'm not saying it to be like, that doesn't mean you are, but I can say it because I know I am, right? And so sometimes that I get that in my head, like, oh, if I say it, that means nobody else can. No, that means we all can be, but I know that I am, right? And so with your gifts, like, let yourself play, right? This is the fun time. Like, try it out. What does resonate with you? There's so many free workshops right now. Get on Master's email. There's so many people who are doing free stuff. Come to UA, check out all of the stuff that the coaches have. Try Reiki, try some of the different meditations, the different yogas, they will open up more of your third eye. The deeper you go into yourself, right? I'm changing the world by becoming me. The more you just dive in, layer after layer of you, then that light shines brighter, because we peeled off more shadows. We got rid of more layers of darkness, and your gifts will naturally unfold. And so focusing on you, jumping in and doing any kind of healing journeys. And like, that's why I'm like, what? This like loom, like there's so many things that I'm like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and focus on me. And in the end, we be service of everybody and create abundance from it. Like, amazing. How many of us can support other people while you're doing that? How many other sacred economies are there out there that we can support one another, that we can put one another and honor somebody in the middle? And then there's so many different opportunities out there. Are you open to it? It blew my mind when I've heard of 3 other ones. I was like, what? I can focus on me. I can help other people. I'm down to put in $100, and so that everybody educates, everybody gets to do this, everybody wins, and I win too, And so learning how we can kind of shift out of that, but also learning how we can explore and play. Dee says it the best, like, especially with any of those open centers, you have the open heart, like play around with the things that bring you that joy, that bring you that value, that self-love. That self-love is in that gate 51. And so you have that open heart. What makes you, maybe you're not a bath person. Jessie talks about her baths all the time, and I love taking baths every now and again, but honestly, a bath to me is so much work. It is like taking the time to fill the tub, to do, like, it is not something, like, I would rather take a long shower with the music on and like dance and do something like that. And so that, or actually, honestly, so when I did this energy grounding in the middle of the summer, I had to take either a salt bath for 7 days in order for it to work and clean all my meridians. And I had to do it 2 times, because the first time it was cold and I couldn't commit. I only did it 5 days. And I was like, I only did it 5 days. And she's like, we have to do it all over again. You didn't commit. And she's like, you could go into the ocean. And I was like, what? I drove to the beach every day. I would rather drive to the beach to swim into the ocean than to sit and to fill up my bathtub. And so we have to figure out, though, what is ours? That doesn't mean that I'm wrong, that I'm not going to get the same messages that Jessie gets just because I'm not going to get in the bathtub. I floated there on my back. I looked up at the sun. I looked up at the clouds. I got plenty of healing from that, right? And so that self-love in your open heart, let yourself play with that. What feels good to me? That's your next level, is like the play around.
He says that I'm a super learner, always looking to learn, but wondering if I'm doing too much learning as a form of seeking validation and not listening to intuition. And she wanted your thoughts.
It's funny that you said. So before Christine shares, I'm gonna tell you what my team is saying. So when Christine was sharing, I was like, everybody's like, why does she just like play? Let's just play, play with all. Like it's coming to you. You're attracting it. Play with all. Like do it. Have some fun. If you don't like it, then stay back. And you know, I feel like I was doing that over it, and I like there was a point. So we're taking all of these classes. Let's regroup. Let's take a deep breath, and we learned all of this stuff. We need to put it into practice for ourselves. You know, because if we go and this like to the year in classes there and classes there and classes there, but we don't bring it to ourselves, and we don't do these subtle things. That is like, okay, so I went and I learned about breath work, and I went and we were talking about breath, and it was this part. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go down to the park. I'm gonna go and practice at the park, and I'm gonna be like, all right, let me really let my intuition guide me to the practice. That's what my park and walks came about, and my bath and all of this came about, because once I went into, master, I went to one of the classes with master, and I learned this, and then I was like, okay, so if I do that, and if I combine it with nature, because that's what my guys are telling me, that's my guys are like, well, we need to get into nature. Boo, let's go to nature. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna do this technique, which is an ancient technique that has worked for ancients of time. And then my guys are asking me to go to nature. And that is my internal guidance, it's my intuition, it's my everything. And it's asking me to please go to nature, like, boo, go to nature. So I went into nature and I practiced and then I made the practices, and then I was getting so many more messages, and I was like, okay. So then it got to the point where I was writing, I keep my recording. I bring my phone just for recording purposes because of all the things that come through. So yeah, be playful, enjoy it, tap into all these beautiful things. You have such an amazing gift. That's all I can say right now. You have such an amazing gift. Like, what? Explore it, because you're gonna really come out of that, and you're gonna be like, whoa, that was me all along. I mean, you can see it now. You can see it now. But yeah, go ahead, Christine.
Oh no, I mean,
Before she does, Tanya was like, she said that she's missing some stuff because Jesse, you went into the portal a couple of times. But I got what she said, because I'm used to Jesse going into a portal, and the guys be telling me what she says. So she was saying that you're doing the learning. You have to get to a point, or excuse me, they were saying, because actually she was channeling, get to the point to where you stop the learning and put the stuff into action. And Tanya, I know your girl. I know that you pack your days. Your every moment is packed. So get your balance with everything. And Jessie, they also said through her something about nature. So get outside, girl. Get one with nature. And you already know all this stuff, because Christine, when you were saying hook up with Master, Tanya did 108 journey last year with Master. So she knows Master. She's in that tribe. She knows, she's done Reiki healing. She channels also. She got her card. She does all those things, So just get that balance. And also start hanging out with Christine too, so she can educate you on your chart. Because the chart itself, it's not, you read the chart, because I've had this conversation with Christine before too. You just look at the chart and you're like, I must be that because that's what my chart says. But the chart doesn't totally allow for programming, trauma, and those things too. That's where, what are they called, Christine? The resiliency keys come from as well too. to do that. And I'll drop the link to Christine's Telegram chat, Tanya, so you can start listening to the different things that Christine shares each morning when she pulls cards, as well as Christine has question and answer Zooms. So you can do a one-on-one reading with her. You can do so much to learn about the foundation, of yourself in this incarnation. So I think that's all I had before Christine goes.
I would just really say then it's just to kind of relax and to let go, because with the open head, the main thing is that we do like to learn, because we feel like, because we're not sure how much knowledge we need to know. And so what you need to start to ask yourself is, do I want to know this information, right? Am I trying to answer somebody's question? And so making sure that like I am a forever, just like everything you were saying, that I do that too. Like, I'm like, do I need all of these certifications? Oh, nobody's going to like, it's like, honestly, there are certain things that you do know, and you have to just tap into yourself, and you just have to, it's just releasing and having that confidence, and looking at some of those traumas and looking at some of the resiliency keys would really help with a lot of that, since you have so much of the foundational other spiritual work. I want to remind everybody, though, that this chart is meant to be implemented. Just like Jesse was saying, it's not going to matter if you sit and you learn that you have an open head center. Okay, that's great. And then you do nothing with it. Or if you learn that your emotional authority, and that you're going to start listening to your emotions, and then you never listen to it, right? It's like, this is a lifestyle, just like yoga. Like you choosing to do human design is choosing to be like, okay, I'm going to try to drop out of my mind. Especially for you, you have an open mind. So a lot of the stuff might not be your own thoughts until you've completely gathered that. And so, all right, I'm going to drop out of my mind, at least start listening to your gut. And the other thing is you have a defined sacral. And so you can ask yourself yes and no questions about how you're feeling. You don't know a lot of those feelings. You're like, I don't know if it's so icky or if it's fear. Ask yourself in yes and no's, and let those natural grunts and groans, right? Our gut is uh-huhs, uh-uhs. And so you can have a lot of conversations with yourself. Like, is this fear, or is this resisting me because I really don't want to, but I'm trying to push myself to, because my mind is saying, well, this is the logical step in the spiritual world. We should be doing this or whatever. Right. And so I think a lot of it is that confidence, and a lot of it comes down to those resiliency keys. And a big piece is about learning how a lot of our trauma is like, we can learn this in the chart, and I can say all day, this is how your emotions are going to work. But unless you are ready to heal whatever pieces you need to heal, so that you can trust that part of me, right? Or trust that part of your chart, I should say. Like, or we can learn all of these gates, and we can learn all of this, but until you're ready to step into it and to say, okay, I'm gonna play around with this. This is something that I'm gonna experiment with. I'm gonna give myself 2 weeks. I'm not gonna listen to anything my mind says. I'm only gonna go with my gut. I'm only gonna go with my solar plexus. I'm only gonna go with my spleen, right? And then you try it out. Have everybody ask you questions. Have everybody make more decisions, just so you can have the opportunity to play around, give you those catalysts to do it. But it is something that there's always a part. And I think it's so interesting, Jesse, when you do go in and out of the portal, every time you came back in, it was for an aha moment. And it was for like, you came back in, and you're like, and you take classes and classes and classes, and now we just have to learn, we have to implement it. And then you went back out into the portal, and then it, like something else, you would come in, and but it was like, it was a nugget of each time you came in. It was like, those were the nuggets. And I think it's so important for everybody, for everything. And I stop myself all the time, and I'm like, okay, I did do this breath work. Okay, or even any breathing in yoga, it's like, when we're uncomfortable, to breathe through it. Well, what do I do when I'm uncomfortable out in society? Do I practice that? Can I connect to that? Can I implement that and just breathe? When I'm in a rush because I didn't leave early enough, and now I'm in a hurry, like, and I'm getting heated at the person in front, like, that's not their problem. They can go as slow as they want, right? It is my fault that I didn't give myself enough time. Can I breathe through that? Can I not let that aggravate me, because it's not their fault, right? And so that's the real practice, taking what we learned and then implement it into the real 3D everyday life, right? And with people that have no idea what we're talking about. But I know it's like at that time, and so should we pull a card? I was thinking a human design card, and I either got fairy or I got food with me. You know, new gate energy, how we can really trust that divine inspiration, right? So possibility, man, we were talking about possibilities, that divine inspiration, not holding on, letting ourselves be the conduit. We have no idea what is in store for us, right? So we got possibility that is coming from our third eye. Let's do a fairy and see what other magical message. And so possibilities, being open to all of the things that are out there, learning to listen to our authority. There are a lot of opportunities that are out there. I wanted to say that too. Just because an opportunity comes your way does not mean we have to say yes to all of them, right? It's great that we have these different opportunities, but we still have to learn how to say no. That is self-love too. And we have to also listen to that in our through our authority. Our authority will tell us if that is feeling icky and you might not know why. Like, can you learn to listen to it? Especially if you have other things, like be like, no, I don't have time for it. You can create anything for that and be like, no, I'm not. If this is icky, this is if it's not a hell yes, it's a no, right? That's how anything works. If it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. Or you need some more clarity, or you need some more information, but do not try to convince yourself. Like, that should be everybody's motto for this next new year. And so possibility, divine inspiration. Let's see what little fairy we got. Ooh. Oh, I haven't got this one in a while. The tattoo fairy in number 50, tattoo fairy number 50. And so thinking about possibilities, thinking about being the conduit, the divine inspiration, labeling. This card speaks of allowing others and yourself free of expression. One person's ugh may be another's ha. Be careful of labeling others or yourself. Too often we assume if a person is this or that, then they must be a certain way. We do not give them the benefit of the doubt or the chance to show who they really are. This is a very unfair place to label on someone just because they might have a tattoo or look different. Allow yourself to see beyond appearances to what truly is. When we label ourselves or our others, we are limiting the possibilities. We limit the ways of expressing by cramming ourselves into a mold. Be open to all that you can be. Allow others the same respect. Welcome the diversity of those around you. Creative expression is a very personal thing. Each being has his or her way of being. Beware of going along with the crowd or the latest fads. Find out who you really are and be that person. You are good enough. This card speaks of symbols. Look for symbols in your life and see how they manifest. What is it trying to tell you? Is there a symbol that has a greater meaning to you? So much that you wish to wear it upon your body? If so, it carries a message that you must decipher. It might be a considered time for a badge of honor. Cut the labels out of your clothes today. And so this is interesting too. And my mic drop after this is going to be, because you know your human design, and this is going to play off of Deanna too, knowing that we had her wrong chart and knowing that we read the wrong chart and that there were things different in it. And your chart isn't a mold. It doesn't mean that you are this graph, and it doesn't mean that you are just these colors and these lines. Like, this is not a mold of who you are. Just like I said in the beginning, that two twins have the same chart and they go through it however they want. We all have free will. We all process through our energy. And so don't push yourself into any mold because of what you're reading if you're diving down these rabbit holes, right? Learn that this is a way that our intuition still gets to filter through. We still have that inner knowledge, and we still can say, no, I don't know. We can still say no, right? So that's my thank you.
What? That just happened. sorry. And if you're just joining in, you're gonna have to go back to the beginning and listen to the whole conversation. What? I'm sorry. What? Queen, any last word before we get, because I think Christine might drop to the yes, our fairies are best friends. We have a great connection with the fairies. I call them all the time. I actually feed them in my house. So so they come through very, it's a portal. We have an open portal in my house. I feed them every single day. Not every single day. I feed them every week. And if you're wondering, how can you feed the fairies? Well, you could put some sugarings in your plants. It's good for your plants and it's good for the fairies. They love it. So yeah, I'm weird like that. I have that beautiful connection with all of my team. Any last word, Queen, before we close the portal down? Because it's been magical, let me just say.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I am so excited. Tanya, I love you so much. I love you so much. Christine, Tanya said, thanks, Christine, and thanks, guides. It is so amazing how, because I normally don't put it in another chat, because I'm probably in 50 or 100 different chats, right? So I normally don't, push our stuff, spam our stuff. I like it to be organic, sometimes. So sometimes I'm like, you need to come, okay? Sometimes I will call you out. And today I shared it in a chat that I'm in with Tanya, and she came, and I'm so glad that you did, Queen. So glad that you did. And actually, I heard from the guides, which I'm going to tell the rest of the 108 family, that all of the 108 family, we need to get our human design chart done. We need that. Jessie, the guide shared with her, it was sometime last year. I don't remember when it was, but the guide said that the human design chart is your human roadmap. So, and we are, when we don't know who we are, what we are, sometimes we feel lost. Hello, and my human design chart really helped me. It really helped me to understand and then not blame myself or be like, oh, that's why I'm like that. Or, and it was a lot of stuff that came out. And that was the wrong chart. And then I got the new chart and I shared it with Christine, and she said, how do you feel about your new chart? I said, well, I don't really know how to feel yet, but it's really amazing to compare it. And then Christine said something, she dropped the mic on me. She said, Dee, you know what? You've been actually working on everything that's matching up to your new chart. You've already been working on it. So I'm saying that to say too, get your chart, yes, but don't stop there. Continue to search, continue to, look for that treasure, continue to play, as Christine was saying earlier, continue to play and have a great time. And you can look at your chart and be like, oh, okay, I see that, but you know what? I'm gonna add that to my purse and I'm gonna keep it moving, and play. So that's the things that I wanted to share today. And wait, Tanya just said that. She said, if I wasn't sick, I wouldn't have made it on Laugh Out Loud. All for a reason. Exactly. Even you being sick, there's purpose in it. Your body was straight telling you, girl, sit down. Hello, Queen. Sit your butt down. You work too much. Sit down. Hello. And look, and then you got to come live and you learned something new about yourself. You got some clarification and some awesome stuff. Awesome stuff jumping off for you. So I love you all very much. And I would love to hear Christine's last words. What you got for us, Queen?
Oh, well, my last words were really not to put yourself into that mold, honestly, but I really do working on, like, Yeah, not to put it yourself, because or else if I go on with my next piece, I think it will go a little bit too long. I think I'm going to end that. I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to end it right there. I would love for you to join into the group. If you want to drop, you can always drop the Telegram group link, in any of your groups if you think that anybody would resonate from it. But definitely join in, grab your chart, join into the chat. I post a reading every single morning. It's just really something for you to kind of set your intention, something for you to think about as you're going throughout your day, maybe something to feel about, let it process, run through your body. And that's really it. I'm not going to be spamming you with a whole bunch of stuff. There's other free stuff that you'll get in there though. You'll get every Friday if you want to. 3 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing charts and cards, and I will be doing just like how I started with Tanya's chart, starting with a card pull. We'll kind of jump in and we'll kind of roll with it. And so if you hop on that Zoom, it'll opportunity for you to get your stuff done for free. And so every Friday at 3 p.m. As of right now, it's just going to be Zoom only. Maybe I'll post it once a month on Facebook. We'll see and see if we can get some more people in. But I always love coming here. I love being a host with you ladies. It is one of my favorite days of the week. I love your energy. And I'm so grateful that all the time changes and everything worked out, because I would have been so heartbroken if I didn't have this in the beginning of the year. And I didn't know how to say it when I reached out to Dee, and I was like, I see there's a time change. Am I still going to be able to be a guest? Like, I didn't know if you were trying to, like, just completely revamp everything. And I was like, but I feel so grateful to be here. And so thank you all so much. I love you.
Oh, we love you so much. Of course, now you're part of the tribe. Hello, the guys are like, you crazy girl. Like, thank you all for joining us. Tanya, my love, I love you so very much. Thank you for being vulnerable and for asking those questions, because by asking those questions, you gave yourself guidance and others that watch the show later on. Thank you. We love you. We'll see you. And the thoughts that Christine has right now, she will draw them down, and next week we'll be here with her, and we are going to dive deep, because that's what we do. We love you that much that we dig until you're comfortable in your skin, and you go and do beautiful things for this world, because we need more people like you, in this beautiful world, because this world needs more of us. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Yay, love you.